This is part 2 of me going through a whole bunch of different bookkeeping industries, and I'm telling you, if you'll make a lot of money or not very much as a bookkeeper in that industry, how hard it is to get that client, that type of client, and how fun they are to work with. And so I'll leave part 1 linked in the description box. You can watch it after this one. It doesn't really matter what order you go in. All right, next one is content creators. Spoiler alert, this is the one that I think I would recommend to new bookkeepers because I think it's an untapped industry that has a lot of really good perks. And I actually have a whole video on it that I'll leave linked in the description box if you want to watch it after this. So the reason I like it so much is, first of all, the first category is income. So I think content creators are a really big upcoming niche that is making a lot of money. So there's a lot of people who are making really good incomes from creating content online. Oftentimes they have multiple revenue streams. Maybe they make money off, TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, and then maybe they also sell something. So they sell t-shirts or something. And then they also have brand deals. So that's a bit of bookkeeping, but it's really not that complex. Like, you can definitely figure that out. And that kind of leads, I guess I'm kind of like leading into the difficulty, which is my second chunk. And I said difficulty is easy. That's why I like this niche a lot, is because I think that there's a lot of income, and the bookkeeping is pretty easy, so not too much going on. Usually there's not inventory for content creators. Sometimes there can be. Some of these business owners, again, I'm generalizing, maybe started making money faster than they were really set up to. And so they could be like mixing personal and business expenses. So that could be a difficulty. Or they just might need like a little bit of teaching, like, oh, this is how we paid quarterly taxes and why. Because in contrast to, let's say, like the plumber that we talked about in part 1, like, again, I'm generalizing, but like maybe that's like a 50-year-old man who took over the business from his dad or something. He's kind of got like the general business knowledge, and he knows like, okay, I have to pay quarterly taxes. I kind of get payroll. Even if he's not doing it great, like he kind of has been around long enough to figure it out. But that's not necessarily the case for like an 18-year-old like high schooler who's maybe he's like talking about like his sneakers on Instagram or something or whatever, So maybe there's less business savvy in this group. Okay, in case you thought this group was too easy, the hard part is getting the clients. So I labeled this as red or pinkish hard to be able to get these clients, because the biggest thing is they're getting inundated with offers every day. So they're getting tons of like emails that say like, well, I can edit your videos for you. They're having to sort through brand deals to figure out who's legit and who's not. So they're just getting a lot of input, a lot of people wanting them, probably because for the same reasons I said. It's kind of an untapped industry. So I talked about a couple of strategies in that other video. You can dig deeper in that one. But one of the strategies is create an online presence and kind of speak their language. So if your content creator that you're looking for is on TikTok, make a TikTok account yourself about bookkeeping. Kind of speak their language, get their attention, comment on their stuff, provide true helpful bookkeeping tips, have them get to know you and build trust with you. And then when you reach out to them, hopefully they'll be somewhat, a tiny bit familiar with you and who you are. And do some research. There might be like an office manager, that's the wrong word, like a business manager that they, who's screening their emails or their communication. Maybe you start with an influencer that is who's less popular, less subscribers, because they'll, by default be getting less inundated with stuff. And again, with all of these, I think referrals is going to help you a lot, because in every industry there's collaboration and people are asking their friends, their peers, like, who do you use for this? Like, who do you use as a bookkeeper? Who do you use to do your writing? Like, who's your landscaper? So maybe you can become known as the bookkeeper for content creators. All right, the last 2 sections, I said easy and easy. I think communication will be pretty easy with these clients. They're pretty plugged into technology and email in their phone, and they usually don't have like a ton of meetings. They have a flexible schedule, which also speaks to the last category, which is flexibility. Again, there usually won't be like financial like fires or like really big expenses, maybe unless you're like working for Mr. Beast or something where he's like, oh, gotta pay for this giant arena or something. But I'm pretty sure you could set your own schedule, work as you want for content creators. Okay, the next bookkeeping industry I just called like local small businesses. And this is a very all-encompassing term. And it's just like anyone that you know who owns a business. And it's kind of meant to speak to the types of clients that a lot of bookkeepers get when they're starting out. So think about the businesses around you. I have a neighbor who is an art teacher who runs art classes out of her home. She might need a bookkeeper. Maybe it's an artist who sells some kind of art, or a t-shirt screen printer. I know someone who does that. It could be a hairdresser or someone who does nails nails, someone who has a vintage shop, any kind of random like local business. And the income potential for this, again, it's obviously varies a ton, but I said lower on this just because most of these people aren't like high-powered surgeons who are like making like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You know, maybe it's like I worked for my friend who was an Etsy seller, and her income, you know, would go up and down, but it was like less than $100,000 a year. So kind of like side hustle status. And some people with side hustles will want to outsource their bookkeeping, and some people won't want to. I don't know. Honestly, I might want to, even if I'm making like $50,000 and I want to pay my bookkeeper like $300 a month. Like, I think that's probably worth it for some people. Difficulty, I put easy. The only thing that makes this a little bit hard, there's no standards. Like, there's no one thing that you can learn to like kind of, other than, I mean, learning QuickBooks and just doing the basics. It's not like you have a specialty of like that medical billing or something. It's just, you kind of learn each client and figure out their systems and standardize a process for that client, but then it might be hard to apply to like the next client if they have kind of a different niche. Easy to get clients. I said yes, this is easy to get clients. I think this, like I mentioned, is kind of where a lot of people start as a bookkeeper. They talk to people around them. They, you know, start with businesses they know locally. What Bookkeeper Launch calls like yakety yak, like yakking with people that you know. And you say, oh, I'm a bookkeeper. And they're like, oh, my aunt needs a bookkeeper for her business. If you don't know what Bookkeeper Launch is, it is a bookkeeper training that I love and recommend. And I have an affiliate link in my description box that helps me out if you use my link. So to get these types of clients, I think just going to local networking events, business networking events, and check for resources in your local chamber of commerce. That I think is a resource that some people don't know about. You can also use a lot of those similar relationship building skills online on any like online group platform type thing. Communication, I said medium. I feel like these clients may be a little more high maintenance than some of the other ones. Probably because their businesses are really personal to them. They probably are the owner, they started it, you might be one of their first few employees. They might make more random requests. They might have really messy books that you need to clean up because they've been DIYing it. You again might be educating them on some like business things, like how to avoid mixing personal and business expenses. Some of that stuff I think is fun. I like helping business owners like make systems and help their business run more smoothly. So that's fun to me if I have the chance to do that. Flexibility, I would say easy, good. Again, if you're the first bookkeeper that's been employed for this business, you have a lot of leeway in making what schedule you want, making the systems you want, telling the business owner, oh, we're gonna get QuickBooks. Well, here's what I need from you. Here's how we should pay the bills. Here's a good invoicing system that I'd recommend. Here's like a payment processor that I like. I'm gonna come into your office one day a week every Friday, and then I'm gonna work 3 hours on, you know, Tuesday from home. So I think this does have the potential to be quite flexible. All right, so let's give out some awards for the best industries to work for as a bookkeeper, depending on your stage of bookkeeping. So the award I gave to best overall, you may have guessed by how I described it, was content creators, and because I made that whole video about it. But if you could nab, again, it's the one that's hard to get. If you can get one of those as a client, I just think it'll be a great industry because I think that they won't be very price sensitive, and I think it'll be a pretty easy bookkeeping job, knock on wood. The award for best for beginners goes to the local small businesses. Like I mentioned, it's usually how people start out, just because I think it helps you overcome a little bit of imposter syndrome. If you're like reaching out to like a doctor's office, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. But if you are bookkeeping for your neighbor's daycare, you're like, okay, I know my neighbor, I can understand the, you know, 15 transactions that they have every month. It just feels pretty manageable to get some initial experience. Best for low stress, this might surprise you. I said therapists. I think they're just gonna be the most calm and professional. That work environment I think is just gonna be like kind of chill. And of course it depends on personalities and, you know, the office culture and all that. But as a rule, if you can figure out medical billing and you tend to enjoy it okay, I think the medical profession is really good from a profitable and a work-life balance perspective. And yeah, I think that's for someone who doesn't like the chaos, doesn't like the up and down of some of the other things I talked about, but you just like the calm predictability. But also some people might find it boring. All right, and speaking of best for stability, I said was the household trades. So those contractors, those electricians. And I awarded this for a few reasons. One, these people are always needing help. I feel like they're kind of like begging bookkeepers. And oftentimes their systems are not updated. They're not in the best technology. They're not in the, you know, you might have to bring them up to current technology times. But in my opinion, this industry is not going away. It's here to stay. I think it's recommended that like our kids go into more of the trade industry because that's kind of where job security is going. Because in theory, they will always be employed and then therefore they will always need a bookkeeper. So if one of these industries sound kind of interesting to you, but it feels overwhelming to get into it, I totally understand. I think it's very valid to, if you're a beginner bookkeeper, just start working, just take the clients on that you can find. So start with those local businesses, like I said. And then if you find that you like some clients better than others, maybe start going toward that industry, toward that niche more than others. That's kind of what I did, and that's what I see most people doing. You could also be very intentional. Like maybe you know no therapist, but you're like, oh, I really like that therapist idea, and I'm going to just go all out for therapists. And it could take a couple of years. Like it's gonna take you time to establish yourself in this niche, get to know people, really network within there, maybe join a BNI group. I have a video about BNI, I can leave it linked in the description box. So you can definitely have like a long-term strategy, like plan for getting into a niche that you think you'll love, especially if you know you want to do bookkeeping for many years. But I will caution you to not overthink it. Like don't let it paralyze you to be like, I need to pick a niche, like my first week of bookkeeping, and it has to be really great and I have to stick with it and learn all about medical billing or whatever the special things are about that niche. So it is good advice to kind of specialize and get to know it. It makes marketing easier, it makes your job go quicker, it makes it so you can charge more because you're more specialized. But I just want to acknowledge to you that it's hard when you're first starting out. So don't freak out about it. Don't let it worry you if you're not there yet. I do have a playlist all about niches. I think I have one about like, why do you even need a niche? Kind of like what I just said, but in more detailed form. And then I have a few videos about like 5 different niches. So I have one about medical billing, one about lawyers, one about nonprofits, which I didn't talk about in this video at all. So I think that's in a playlist. I'll leave the playlist linked in the description box. While you're down there, definitely give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can join, and check out my website, FinePoints.biz. There's tons of great resources on there. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again next week.